More than 100 people move to Phoenix every day.
We moved from Virginia.
We moved to Arizona in June.
It's no wonder Phoenix is now the fifth largest city in the country, extending its landmass over the past 5 decades to more than 500 square miles. Well before this generation, early city leaders began our long tradition of preserving land for parks and recreation, including South Mountain Park Preserve in 1920 and Encanto Park in 1934. 65 years later, we were bursting at the seams and our parks were in need of $500 million in repairs alone. According to the Trust for Public Land, residents were paying less than $9 a year for their local parks, a formula that was supplying few reasons for people to visit the Valley of the Sun. In 1999, the innovative Phoenix Parks and Preserve Initiative proposed using retail taxes to raise park funds. Nearly 80% of the voters approved this measure. It increased Phoenix retail sales taxes by 1/10%, 1 cent per every $10, or 10 cents for every $100 spent at retail stores.
Now, it doesn't seem like much, but when you see what your money has purchased over these years, obviously it's added up.
Enough to raise the average amount Phoenicians spend on their parks to $22 a year, according to Trust for Public Land figures. In return for those pennies, the voters were promised 10% would go toward renovating smaller neighborhood parks with new sports fields, playground, shade, lighting, and other improvements. Parks and Preserve Initiative Administrator Cynthia Peters says that 10% also included building new recreation centers in some of the oldest neighborhood parks, some of which had been overlooked for decades.
Now there's a lot of programming going on inside the community center, and they could serve not only little kids, but they can serve teenagers. They have community meetings here. They have some special activities and events here. And then the kids actually have a fun place to play, and it's safe for them.
In all, $24 million in improvements at community and neighborhood parks has included 66 new and renovated playgrounds, 35 ramadas, 42 shade structures, 14 restrooms, new or improved lights for 47 park fields, accessibility modifications at dozens of parks, hundreds of park benches, tables and grills, artificial turf at 4 existing soccer fields, and 4 new or renovated recreation centers.
And we've also put shade structures over older playgrounds, including parks that are in this area of town that they didn't necessarily need the playground replaced, but they needed some shade.
And these improvements are having a ripple effect, says Peters.
What I've noticed is that the houses are starting to get repaired, and they're starting to do a lot of painting and upgrades to the houses, particularly in the area that's surrounding this park site.
Another 30% of the Parks Preserve Initiative pennies are going toward regional parks, starting with
Steele Indian School Park. The initiative, in addition to the Steele Foundation, funded, developed, and brought that regional park to fruition. We have fabulous sport there where thousands of people are there.
It's a unique 75-acre park featuring amphitheater, new restrooms, and state-of-the-art playground equipment, helping to set the standard for improvements at other regional parks like Cesar Chavez.
We put in some new ball field lights, put in a new support around the lake at Cesar Chavez. At Paseo Highlands, we built actually built the community center at Paseo Highlands, as well as built the park site from the ground up.
That 30% added up so far to $65 million, which also helped in building Pecos Park, improvements at the 3-mile-long Cave Creek recreation area, added soccer fields with lighting and artificial turf, as well as renovation on the skate park at Desert West, construction and design on Rio Salado's habitat restoration area, and Phase 1 construction of our premier sports complex at Reach 11 recreation area.
Now we can start looking at tournaments. We can start drawing the national recognition, which are played then on basically center court.
And when soccer's not on the schedule, These innovative fields draw teams from around the valley.
It's different because it's like you ain't playing on grass, you're playing on turf. And that's what the pros play on, so it make you feel good.
Autism, way better, way better. It seems like it's a real thing.
The Parks and Preserve dollars also pays for playground equipment at many city parks, each one designed specifically with little people in mind.
Each playground, we make sure that it's accessible, that it's age appropriate.
The remaining 60% of the Parks and Preserves Initiative funding is saving our unique desert environment.
There's an area right in through here, especially like right here, you can see where a bobcat has been coming and getting a drink of water, along with a couple other animals, raccoon, birds.
Chris Ewell had a hand in recent acquisitions for our more natural parks, the Phoenix Mountain Preserves, including the pristine Sonoran Preserve to the north, where desert and wildlife are now merging with rapid development.
You have connections up into Carefree, Cave Creek, you have connections to the west, and these purchases are vital to keep this wildlife living and thriving.
It's why the city set out to purchase 11,000 acres of state trust land. Bit by bit, the Parks and Preserve Initiative money, paired up with the State of Arizona Growing Smarter grants, has purchased more than 3,000 acres. Most recently,
we just bought this land. It's 862 acres. It's pristine desert. Very few people have ever been in this desert, other than native peoples that used to live here a long time ago. And we want to protect it just like it is.
All of this has happened because Phoenix voters were willing to add 1 cent to every $10 purchase. 1 red cent for every $10 you spend? Let's find out if the Phoenix voters think they're getting their pennies worth. You think you got your money's worth?
Yeah, so it's a very small price to pay.
You have 1 cent on you? You want to put it in the kitty?
Absolutely.
It's worth it because of the people here. The money add up more.
I want to buy this for 1 penny. I want to buy this with 1 penny.
Thanks, guys. Pretty inexpensive, huh?
Yeah.
When I tell you that it's 1 cent for every $10 that you spend at a retailer, do you think it's worth that to have a park like this?
Yes, I do.
Are you willing to put a penny into the initiative fund?
Yes, I am. It's worth my money.
You feel like you got your money's worth?
Oh, absolutely.
You want to put a penny in the kitty?
Yeah.
By late 2007, taxpayers' pennies added up to $213 million, and we'll keep collecting under the Parks and Preserve Initiative until it ends in late 2009. But what's been done so far seems to be appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.